Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Nevşah Karamehmet, who's here to share with us breathwork and her app, BreathHub. Did you know that your breathing could be affecting your health? Well, today Nevşah's here to explain how that works and how we can change it. So Nevşah is an educator, author, and entrepreneur who has touched the lives of thousands of people through her seminars, workshops, speeches, and books for over 20 years. She has conducted research on more than 40,000 people and is the first person to set the standards for breath coaching by founding the Breath Coaching Federation and making the field a profession. She's also vice president of the Institute of Behavioral Health Sciences and a member of the Faculty of Breath Sciences. In line with her mission to improve people's life by enabling them to breathe better, she and her team of both expert scientists founded BreathHub, the world's first and only personalized breathing app. In line with the demands of BreathHub users, she also developed BreathHub Academy platform. So let's welcome to the show, Nevşah Karamehmet.
Hello, thanks for having me, Marianne.
Well, it's such an honor to have you here today to talk about breathwork and your app, BreathHub. What even got you interested in breathwork?
I got involved with breathwork actually around 22 years ago, many years ago in my early 20s. And the reason was, I think I was kind of like searching for a tool that would connect me deeply with myself or with my truth, because I was kind of like feeling lost. And, early 20s, of course you feel lost, but I didn't want to continue that way. So I wanted to find, what my mission was in this lifetime and what would, fulfill me as a business, as relationships. And I kind of like wanted to find the meaning of my life. And I think the meaning of life and the mean, so kind of like the balanced state, are the same thing. So I went on a search and I started doing yoga, I started doing meditation, practicing some breathing techniques, starting with pranayama and kapalabhati and all that. And none of those were as effective as I thought, although they all helped. I started feeling I needed something more deep, kind of like a deeper transformation. And then I met great breathwork teacher, and I started practicing active breathwork, active conscious connected breathwork. Listeners might know that kind of breathing techniques as dynamic breathing, transformational breathing, holotropic or holistic breathing, or even like Soma breath or Wim Hof's techniques. Conscious connected breathing, like much more intense breathing techniques than the breathing techniques used in yoga practices. So I loved conscious connected breath work, and I wanted to go deeper, because in one breathwork session I started realizing like my whole consciousness, my perspective about life, everything was shifting, and I was able to connect with who I was on a deeper level and my truth and what I wanted to do with my life. So I wanted to go deep, dive deep. So I got my trainings. I finished a couple of trainings, a couple of certification programs, and then I started working with the breathing sciences faculty, because I wanted to deep dive, have a deep dive into especially the scientific part of it, like what's happening in a breathwork session. Why is breathwork so important? Of course, it's obvious that breathwork or breathing is very important in our lives, because our bodies, our organs, our brain, everything lives with breath or dies without breath. So it's obvious that breathing is very important. But until I finished most of my trainings, I didn't know how important it was. Like today, we have a lot of meetings with enterprises, companies that use BreathHub, that are members of the BreathHub platform, and of course they see breathwork and breathing as one wellness method, and we keep on telling them breathing and breathwork isn't actually a wellness method. It is a necessary thing we need to work on if we want to stay alive, and if we want to be more alive, it's all about being more alive. So it's not even a wellness method. It's like sitting at the core of our health, because dysfunctional breathing habits are basically causing more than 200 health problems, and people are going to, doctors, using prescriptive medicine, getting surgeries just because they have dysfunctional breathing habits, and certain organs and certain part of the body can't get enough oxygen, just basic life. And as you also know, there are a lot of health problems in the world. And when we ask the question why people are getting unhealthier and unhealthier each and every day, as someone who did, many researches, worked with 40,000 people and worked with the breathing sciences faculty, I can just say the main cause of many health problems is because people are breathing dysfunctional and they don't have enough life in their bodies. Like if you're using only 30% of your breathing capacity, that means your body has 70% less life. So your body has death instead of life if you're not breathing properly. No wonder why you have all kinds of serious, health issues. So because breathing is sitting at the core of our health, and I not only found my mission in life through breath work, I also realized that there was nothing more important than helping people breathe better, because it's basically helping people become more alive and live better. And I believe that we can all reach to sustainable health and well-being by just, practicing more breathing, more breath work.
And what a great story that is. And I'm so grateful that you found such great interest in this. I mean, here in the West, I don't know how it is in other places, but we hold our breath a lot of times, or we don't use belly breath. And so it's interesting when we take full breaths, how that can really improve our health. And for our listeners that are new to breath work, what are some of the benefits?
First of all, to keep everything basic and simple, first of all, breath work, no matter which technique we are using, will definitely increase the oxygen levels in our blood. And if, our listeners want to practice breath work, they can use a very simple device called oximeter, which looks at the percentage of oxygen in our blood. And they're going to see, even in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, they're going to see the oxygen level in their blood will change 5 to 6%. And that's a huge difference for the body. That's why many people are, instead of the other wellness tools, are now using breath work, because it's simple, because it's fast, because it's effective. In just 3 to 5 minutes, you change the oxygen levels in your blood, and then oxygen literally flushes into your cells, into your brain. What happens afterward? It's like if you Google what happens to my body when I have 3% more oxygen in my cells, or 3%, 4% more oxygen in my blood, you're going to see, you're going to see all the benefits. Our cells regenerate faster. We become and we get younger. We have more energy. Because our cells regenerate faster, we get older slower, like we age slower. We trigger the anti-aging process. And like the people I've met who have been practicing in a disciplined way breath work, I mean, they're like 70 years old, look 50, and 50-year-old people look 30. And I hear that, from my students as well, and people who are following me. I'm almost 50 now. They say I look 35 or 33. It's all because of breath work, because breathing is pure life. So if you increase breathing, if you increase oxygen, you increase life in your body. And then your immune system, you boost your immune system, your cells stay younger, you become more energetic. With more oxygen in the brain, you can think better, you become more creative, you increase your concentration, you increase your focus, attention, you start healing attention deficit problems, you start healing concentration issues. That's why big enterprises are also now turning towards breath work and offering their employees more and more breath work, sessions and breath work trainings to help them reach to sustainable health and well-being. Of course, with breath work, with a balanced breathing habit, you balance emotions, you can heal or ease anxiety, panic attack, more than 200 breathing related symptoms like headaches, migraine, back pain, shoulder pain, all kinds of body pain, even hypertension, problems like arrhythmia, and problems like, especially in the young generation, ADD, ADHD, and all kinds of performance issues. So another benefit of breath work is that you become physically stronger, and that's why a lot of professional athletes are using BreathHub. Professional runners and basketball players, like the Turkish national team, is now using, and they're in the tournaments playing awesome with the European league and everything. All of them are using BreathHub every day, and national football players and volleyball players. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of amazing stories of people who, by using BreathHub, increased performance and did boost resilience and physical health.
Can you share with us what BreathHub is? I think a lot of times when people start a breathwork practice, they might feel like they're alone.
Yeah. So the most important thing about breathing, and this is something not many people or experts talk about, is that each and everybody has a different breathing habit. Like our fingerprints, we're all breathing differently. And when it comes to breath work, not all breathing techniques are good for everyone because we are breathing differently. And even like for myself, the techniques I used to practice and that worked for me when I was in my 20s do not work for me anymore because of my age, because I was exercising more when I was in 20s. Now I'm not exercising that much. So my life changed, my perceptions changed, everything changed. So from individual to individual, due to learned breathing behavior, to get the most benefit out of breath work, we need to first understand how we are breathing, like what's our breathing pattern and how we are breathing. And the hardest thing about breathing is that because breathing habits are learned unconsciously, like all behavioral habits, we don't realize how we are breathing during the day. Like until maybe we stop breathing and tell ourselves, oh, I stopped breathing, or until we, try to take a deep breath and we can't because we have a shallow breathing habit. And then we say, wow, why can't I breathe, deeper? So people usually don't recognize their breathing patterns, and that's why analyzing breathing patterns is very, very important before we start any kind of breathwork exercise. And BreathHub is the world's first and only fully personalized and customized breathing app. And we are very conscious about, the fact that, and careful about the fact that we can't just give people breathwork sessions and tell them, hey, just use this breathwork session and you're going to love it. Because breathing regulates respiratory chemistry, any kind of breathwork exercise that is not good for your body might even cause not some kind of a harm, but might even cause a problem or might trigger a problem. So we need to be really careful about breathing and really careful about, this is from my expertise for many years, we need to be really careful about who we are leading to which exercise. So that's why we built BreathHub, and that's why we built the breath analysis algorithm. With breath analysis algorithm, we ask you some questions because we did a lot of research with, over, like I said, 40,000 people, and gathered data by asking you certain questions about the symptoms you are experiencing, breathing related symptoms. We understand how you are breathing. We don't even need a device to check your breathing because there are certain symptoms people experience in certain breathing behaviors. So we ask about your symptoms, and then we ask from 0 to 10 for you to rate those symptoms, and then the algorithm creates a unique customized journey. And that's why with BreathHub we're getting amazing results. Like we do a lot of interviews with our users, and also surveys with our users, and we see that like 80% of our users were able to increase concentration. Around 50% of our users who had migraine and headaches were able to heal them. 80% increased their energy. Most of them were able to boost their immune system. And so when it comes to breathwork, that analysis is very important. And BreathHub right now is the only platform you can analyze your breathing habits and start a customized journey to get the best benefits. And as a company, we are obsessed with results. Because we have over 300 experts in our platform, breathing scientists, breathwork teachers, who have 40 plus years of experience. We truly want to help people because we are on a mission to help people understand the power of their breathing, on a mission to teach people that they can reach to sustainable health and well-being by just practicing 10 minutes of breath work every day. We're on a mission to help people get there, to help people, increase their oxygen levels, boost the immune system. We don't need this much surgery and prescriptive medicine, and we don't need this much outer, support if we stay healthy from, if we stay healthy using the most natural tool we have.
Does this also help people develop healthy habits with their breathwork?
Yeah, we do. So with breathwork, I think because you get results very fast, developing a habit isn't as hard as, for example, developing a habit on meditation or certain other wellness practices. Because, like, for example, with meditation, it takes a long time, to get the benefits. But with breathwork, it takes 3 minutes. So because people do get do experience the benefits, it's as simple as increasing the oxygen in your blood and in your cells. And you do increase the oxygen in your blood and in your cells, for example, with an active breathwork session in less than 3 minutes. And you see the benefits immediately because it's fast, because it's very effective, and because it's physical, I think, and because people feel it immediately, like it's kind of like boosting your whole system. And some of our users say it's kind of like a reset button. You feel tired, close your eyes, do a breathing technique for 3 minutes, and then you boost your energy. You open your eyes as if you woke up that morning, or as if you had 5 glasses of or 5 cups of coffee. So that's why I think building habits is more easier when it comes to breath work. But of course, we have, notifications. We send notifications. We do regular webinars. We meet with our users. We ask their opinion. We have, different communities that, stick together, and we are fully focused on supporting our users as well.
Sounds like a great community to be a part of. Will this also help people who have asthma or sleeping disorders?
Yes, definitely. So first of all, with asthma, especially if it's a organic problem, if your asthma isn't related with your lungs, because some people have lung issues and respiratory problems, and those issues on the physical level, of course, can't be healed or eased by breath work. We need healthy lungs, first of all, for breath work to work. So it is, of course, going to make it easier for even, for people who even have lung problems, but that's a different story. But with people who have healthy lungs and allergic asthma, for example, or asthma related to breathing habits, BreathHub will definitely help because it will analyze their breathing habits, lead them into a customized journey. With the answers they give, the algorithm, the BreathHub algorithm, will see that they are probably holding on to the exhale, because asthma is all about holding on to the exhale. People get allergic asthma because they hold on to the exhale. They don't fully exhale, so they can't inhale. And this is for our listeners. So if you try it by yourself, like take a deep breath, exhale but not fully exhale, and then try to take another breath, and then exhale but not fully exhale, and in the third or fourth breath you will suffocate. You won't be able to take an inhale because you are not exhaling. You'll be like, there is no space to breathe. And allergic asthma and many asthmatic problems relating to breathing habit related asthmatic problems can be healed or can be eased by BreathHub. And also sleep apnea. People have sleeping problems, but first of all, sleeping apnea, because sleeping apnea is a well-known, scientifically proven and well-known symptom of hypocapnia, or an overbreathing habit, which is actually taught in medical schools to respiratory scientists. So people experience sleeping apnea because they overbreathe through the day. And then at sleep, because you did overbreathe, for not to die, your respiratory reflexes kick in and brain reflexes kick in and stop your breathing, because you did overbreathe throughout the whole day, which led to a respiratory alkalosis problem, which is also called hypocapnia, which is a very, very well-known respiratory symptom. And if you go more alkali, you might even die. So during sleep, when you're not in control and when you're not overbreathing, your respiratory reflexes kick in and your brain sends a signal to your diaphragmatic muscles to stop breathing because it's too much. You already did breathe too much during the day. So sleeping apnea is very, very, very much related to dysfunctional breathing habits and can be healed by going on a customized journey. Again, like I said, after breath analysis, we lead people who have that kind of a problem, for example, an overbreathing habit, to balancing the inhale and exhale. We lead them into practicing a more calm, shallow breathing technique, and they practice it daily, and then they calm down the breath. They stop eventually by practicing calm breathing techniques. They eventually learn, their physiology learns not to overbreathe during the day and to keep their breathing, inhale and exhale, balanced, so their respiratory chemical excess stays balanced. And then, eventually they do heal sleeping apnea, which is great to see. Like, I have probably helped over 100 people in the past 15 years in my own seminars and workshops to heal sleeping apnea. And some of those people were even using machines during sleep because, their body would stop breathing, and they were, their doctors told them to use a breathing machine. But actually, just by changing a breathing behavior, learning a new breathing habit, you can get free of sleeping apnea and all those oxygen machines.
Well, I think that's very encouraging for a lot of people to hear that. And one of the things that I'd like to touch on also is how breath work really affects our emotions. Can it help us release negative emotions?
Yeah, definitely. There, I'm going to state something maybe new, or maybe something our listeners already knew. All kinds of psychological issues, any psychological, like any emotion, let me say, you don't like, which you call negative, like anxiety, panic attack, depression, feeling depressed, are actually chemical issues. That's why in a highly emotional situation, psychiatrists give you some, prescriptive medicine to balance your body fluid chemistry. And our breathing regulates respiratory chemistry, and our respiratory chemistry controls the body fluid chemistry. So actually, because all emotional triggers, all kinds of emotional imbalances are very much body fluid chemistry related, by balancing your breath and by working on balancing the inhale and exhale, balancing the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, you literally can balance immediately in less than 3 minutes the respiratory chemistry, which does balance the body fluid chemistry, which balances the emotions. So what I've been seeing is, especially especially the techniques that balance the inhale and exhale, also the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, are the fastest, the most natural, and the most effective ways to balance our emotions, because it balances our body fluid chemistry, and emotions are, you know, chemical reactions in the body. If you look at an emotion, like especially negative energies or negative emotions, they are just, you know, alkaline or too alkaline or too acidic. They are because of too alkaline or too acidic chemistry. And when you balance the body fluid chemistry, you balance your emotions easily. And I think it's the fastest way, instead of using a prescriptive medicine. Of course, again, I'm not talking about psychiatric problems. That's a different story. But I'm more talking about, healthy individuals who do not need psychiatric, support, but during the day who have problems like anxiety, panic attack, fear, depression, stress, or who have anger issues, or who feel like they have too much negativity, too much negative emotions, or who feel like they can't, balance their emotions, then their best tool and best friend is breath work.
What would you say to the people who are maybe a little skeptical of breath work? How would you explain it to them, or talk with them about it?
First of all, I do not understand why anyone would be skeptical about breath work, because the reason being, we are breathing, period. And, it's very simple. We take our first breath, we are born, we give our last, we die. Just like the phone needs, or the electrical car needs electricity, our bodies first and last need breath. It doesn't need food or water and other stuff. That's why I don't think breath work is a wellness method, because it's something we depend on. It's beyond that. So it's like, in the simplest terms, I think when you tell people, when you're not breathing, you're dead. When you increase your breathing, you're more alive. It's just basic. It makes sense. So I would say that to people who are skeptic, I would say you're already breathing, and the better you breathe, the better you live. Breath is life. So with 3 minutes of breath work, you basically increase life in your body. With 3 minutes of breath work, you increase oxygen in your blood, in your cells, in your body. So you actually increase your lifespan. And what I usually do is, for people who are skeptics, or we sometimes send the enterprises, the companies we work with, for example, 50 oximeters, so that they can see it themselves. Because, like I said before, with 3 minutes of breath work, you will see the oxygen levels increase in your blood with an oximeter. So we give people oximeters for the skeptics, like, see what's happening with 3 minutes of breath work. And we ask them to Google what happens if you increase the oxygen level in your blood 3 to 5%.
You can't argue with the science, So.
Yeah, you can just Google, and you can ask just one doctor, what's going to happen with my physical body if I increase the oxygen level in my blood 2 to 3%, and he will answer. It's just basic science. So, yeah.
So how do you see the field of breath work kind of evolving? Because it seems that even though it's been around for centuries, it really hasn't hit many areas. Like in the US, it's still pretty new.
Yeah. I think everywhere we have a big responsibility of, teaching people the importance, because people underestimate basic things, and that the most basic thing in life is our breath. We take our first breath, then breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and then we die. That's the only thing we do constantly when we are alive. Like you sleep 8, 9 hours a day, you maybe talk a couple of hours a day, you eat a few times a day, but you have to breathe the whole time. So breath is actually life. But because it's so simple, and because people have this idea, oh, I'm already breathing, it is, I think, because of its simplicity, and because in the 21st century, we are so complicated in our minds, searching for all kinds of complicated stuff. People just don't see it. Like people do all kinds of exercise, eat healthy, eat organic, and not paying attention to your breath if you want to be healthy and well is kind of like a bit crazy, because our body is obviously lives with breath, and most people don't use their full breath capacity. It's like you're trying to increase your for example, I don't know, running capacity, or if you walk during the day, you're trying to increase that, or you're trying to increase, eating organic, but you're not trying to increase life, in your body. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, I mean, it's evolving. I think there are now more and more teachers and more experts talking about it and doing workshops and doing events. We're going to eventually get there. And I think businesses like us, like BreathHub, like other breathwork platforms, are really important at this stage of history, because we are about to change history if we can get to where we're heading. And or everything will stay the same, because I have seen people heal you know serious problems from bipolar conditions to ADD, ADHD, from migraine to even cancer. I even had some people who, of course, with medical support as well, but with the support of breathwork, who were able to heal cancer faster than expected, or heal injuries faster than expected. So it's kind of like, if you want to boost your immune system, it's not going to happen with vitamins, or it's not going to happen with exercise, or it's not going to happen with organic eating, but it is going to happen with breath work in less than 3 minutes. And we have a big responsibility of course, talking about it, teaching it. We are, the community is growing. People interested in breath work is growing, because people are nowadays interested in anti-aging. Most people are interested in, living longer, or staying younger, or having more energy. And this is what those people are looking for, because this is the tool. It's like breath is our ultimate power.
Let's say someone's interested in a career in breath work. How would you advise them? Where should they go?
First of all, I would suggest starting with learning more about respiration and reading books on respiratory science before even getting a training on breath work, because I sincerely think most breathwork teachers out there do not have the information they needed to have before they start teaching breathwork. They don't know the respiratory system. They don't know you know the they don't know about cellular respiration, outer respiration, inner respiration, the respiratory chemistry, the respiratory physiology. And what they're doing is just on a shallow level, and without knowing the respiration, I think we're not doing good to people. So I would suggest by starting by working, studying respiration, learning about respiration, reading respiratory science books. And when you really truly understand what respiration is, and then you can go and join a breathwork training, because breathwork and respiration are different but they affect each other. Breathwork trainings usually don't involve respiratory science. And of course, like, we're working on people's breathing habits. On some level, we do not need to know about the respiration, or we do not need to learn about respiration, because we are just working with people's breathing. But again, on one level, we do need to know about respiration because everything we're doing is affecting the respiratory chemistry and respiratory physiology. And without the right, I think, expertise, many teachers are leading people into a very, very not wrong, but it's like pseudoscience. Like we started this conversation with, for example, a common thing people talk about right now. We are not using the diaphragm, and diaphragmatic breathing is the natural way to breathe or the best way to breathe. But scientifically, it is not. Scientifically, when you do research, you see that our body needs all kinds of breathing, and our body doesn't, throughout the whole day, doesn't need diaphragmatic breathing the whole time. And saying something like breathing from the diaphragm is the best way to breathe is pseudoscience. It's not scientific at all because it is not the best way to breathe. It depends on what you're doing. For example, if you're exercising, if you're speaking, if you're on stage, of course, your respiratory reflexes kick in and you start breathing from the diaphragm. But for example, when you're going to sleep, when you are lying down, resting, when you're reading a book, when you're concentrating, you don't use the diaphragm too much. And if you keep on using the diaphragm, then you have sleeping problems. And many people can't go to sleep because they have diaphragmatic breathing habits. So it's nothing. Breathing is nothing simple. So I suggest getting trainings from real experts, like at BreathHub Academy. We also have a certification program, also aligned with Breathing Sciences Faculty and Breath Coaching Federation, with years of research and information. But even to people who join our certificate programs, I say go and read a respiratory science book and learn about respiratory chemistry, how lungs work, what cellular respiration is. Because if you don't know that, what you're doing doesn't make sense. Then you go out there and say diaphragmatic breathing is the best way to breathe, which is actually not scientific at all. I'm certain that respiratory scientists are just laughing at people who say that, because that's not true.
Well, it's always good to have more science and more information so that we can live better. Nevşah, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about the app BreathHub?
BreathHub is on Apple Store and Google Play. So they can go to Apple Store, Google Play, search for BreathHub and download it. And like I said, I suggest finishing the breath analysis and then using the app, going on a customized journey. That is what we are offering. They can also check our website, breathhub.app. They can send us emails, info@breathhub.app, if they want to be part of the community, if they want to join, regular workshops and free webinars as well. We do a lot of free webinars because, like I said, we know that we have a big responsibility, especially on teaching breathing and breathwork and breathing sciences. And I'm looking forward to hearing from them.
Well, Nevşah, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Marianne. It was lovely speaking to you.
Well, thank you, Nevşah. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about breathwork and the new app, BreathHub. Again, you can visit BreathHub's website at breathhub.app. There you can try a free session of BreathHub, take one of their free courses, and they have a 7-day free trial, so make sure to download the app. Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
With BreathHub, you'll experience the transformative power of breath as it harmonizes your body, mind, and spirit. Recommended by experts in fitness, sports, psychology, and medicine. Meet the scientific way of being well. BreathHub. Breathe better, live better.
Are you a coffee lover who wants to make a difference? Look no further than Fire Department Coffee, a veteran-owned business that gives back to support first responders in need. Each batch of coffee is freshly roasted right here in the USA by a dedicated team of first responders and coffee experts. So when you enjoy a cup of Fire Department coffee, you're not only drinking high-quality coffee, you're supporting members of your community. Start your day with a coffee that gives back. Visit firedepartmentcoffee.com. That's fire, D-E-P-T, coffee.com.
Are you looking to untangle life's riddles? Discover the profound teachings of Dr. Shai Tabali, renowned philosopher, best-selling author, and your guide to self-empowerment. With methods that harmonize psychological and spiritual principles, Dr. Tabali's wisdom offers a pathway to holistic transformation. Take that first step today and join thousands globally and embrace the journey to higher consciousness. Visit shaitabali.com, that's SHAITUBALI.com now.
Are you chasing profitability yet losing fulfillment? Let me introduce you to your solution, the Relaunch Company. I'm Hillary DeCesar, an entrepreneurial performance coach, fearless leader of the Relaunch Company, here to help put the pedal to the metal and relaunch your business your way. Visit www.therelaunch.com. Take the free quiz to learn 3 steps towards waving goodbye to burnout and hello to success.
The book Terminal Cancer is a Misdiagnosis, authored by Danny Carroll, is on sale at Amazon now. Licensed psychologist and psychotherapist Tessa Antia-John Guerra commented, "This is one of the most empowering books on the topic of cancer you will ever read." Award-winning author T.L. Needham commented, "This recommended book can be understood by anyone seeking answers, hope, and alternatives to a terminal diagnosis. Buy it now on Amazon.com.
Pandemonium. Fast forward 20 years. A U.S. president seizes control of all U.S. missiles, the power grid, the banking system, and every computer in America as he hides in an underground bunker. Pandemonium, a captivating sci-fi thriller where a hidden war, psychics, aliens, artificial intelligence, and transcendental love collide with the latest media technology. Pandemonium, live to all devices. Get your copy on paperback or digital. Free sample at getpsychic.org.
Hello, Dr. Cutler here. Do you experience bloating, heartburn, food craving, bowel irregularity, food sensitivities, weight issues? If you do not digest your food, you may be deficient in macronutrients, which your body needs for optimal health. DrEllenCutler.com teaches that this is an enzyme deficiency. I believe the most important supplement is a full-spectrum digestive enzyme, Dr. Ellen's Way Digestive Enzymes. Hear more about it at DrEllenCutler.com.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with our next special guest, New York Times bestselling author Karen White, and she's here to share with us her new novel, The House on Prytania. So welcome to the show, Karen White.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
What an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book. What inspired you to write this?
Well, it's the second book in a series, which is a spin-off series from a very popular series that I wrote set in Charleston, that was originally going to be set in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. I went to college in New Orleans, and I'd always planned to set my original series in New Orleans, but that was 2005. And of course, we all know what happened in August of 2005. A little storm called Katrina visited the city. So I sort of had to pivot. So I did a whole 7-book series set in Charleston. And all these years later, I was still dying to write, a full series set in New Orleans. And I had the perfect character she was a secondary character in the first series, Nola Trenum. She moves to New Orleans in the first book in the shop on Royal Street. And she buys, as you do, your first house, except the only one she can afford is an old cottage in the Marianne neighborhood of New Orleans. That's this side of the wrecking ball. And she begins to restore it. And that is how we re-meet Nola Trenum as a young woman of 26 in the shop on Royal Street. And the house in Prytania does continue her story. She's continuing the renovation, except in this book, now she is hoping to start anew, but unfortunately the house that she has bought comes with a few hangers on, two spirits from previous, residents. And one of them is not happy to have her there at all. So that sort of launches us into the house on Prytania.
Well, it's such a just really impressive read. And I think it's interesting because you hear a lot about that. There's this, story, that line that goes along where maybe someone buys a really old house and they get more than they bargained for.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I've always been fascinated by ghosts. And, when I first started writing, I didn't, I never planned to write anything with, a paranormal side plot. And when I first started thinking of the series, it was like the most natural thing in the world. Again, when you think New Orleans, you think, the old houses. I mean, New Orleans just screams haunted houses. It's just got so much history, so much character and ambiance. And it definitely has that sort of woo-woo feel to it. So definitely the kind of story that I wanted to tell in the series about houses with a past, I guess you could say, it was perfect for New Orleans.
So did you do a lot of research for this book?
Yeah, I do. I do for all of my books. I'd love to revisit a setting, even though, like I said, I'd gone to college in New Orleans, but that was many moons ago. And of course, pre-Katrina. So things had changed greatly. I'm very lucky that I have two of my best friends that I met while in college are New Orleans natives. And so I've been able to go back, several times. But 2 years ago in June, I specifically made a point to do a research trip. And I like to joke that I like to suffer for my craft, meaning I made sure I ate in lots and lots of those wonderful restaurants so I could accurately portray the meals that my characters would be eating. But also, I hired a tour guide, a friend of mine who is an actual professional tour guide in New Orleans, licensed and everything. And she gave me a curated tour of the areas of the city that I really had not been familiar with before writing the book. The Marianne neighborhood, for instance, where Nola buys her Creole cottage. And, really do a walking tour to get the ambiance and the flavor and, what the streets look like, what the houses look like, who are the people that live there? What are the cool gathering spots in the neighborhood? And that was worth everything, really immersing myself into the atmosphere and the neighborhood that my characters would be living in.
It must make it so that the folks that either visit there or live there feel like they're part of the story.
And that is my goal. And for me, setting is as much of a character as the actual living and breathing characters are. So it's very important that I feel it, because if I can't feel it, I can't recreate it on the pages of my books. And I do know a lot of people, after reading not just my series books, Charleston and New Orleans, but a lot of my single title books as well, because the setting is always, first and foremost, a main character. I get a lot of reader emails saying, oh, because of this book, that was, where we went on our vacation, because I felt that I had known it, I knew it or wanted to know it better after reading your book. And that is the biggest compliment to me.
We don't get into spoilers here, but I would love for you to share a little bit about the book with us.
Nola Trenum is a young woman who has come so far. Her background, her a little more, as a teenager in the first series, but you don't need to have read the Trad Street series to know Nola. I give you enough information, plus, the new stuff that's there in the books. Including the house in Prytania. So her mother, she didn't know who her father was. Her mother sort of said, your father isn't in the picture, and she never asked about it. And then when her mother unexpectedly dies, as a 13-year-old child, she, has this name, Jack Trenum, on a piece of paper, and she gets on a bus and she travels across the country by herself on a bus at age 14 and ends up in Charleston. And that's how we meet her in the first series. So she is someone who has learned, she feels she's been abandoned by both parents. And she also had her mother, because of her mother's issues. And so she's always only relied on herself. And she's very, very, very hard-headed. But she also comes with some genetic tendencies.
Karen, where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about your work?
I would love to see them. So I always send people initially to my website, and that is karen-white.com. And on that, you will see the links to my social media. I'm most active on Instagram and also Facebook, but Instagram is where I do most of the fun stuff.
Well, Karen, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Marianne. I so appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Karen. It's been such a pleasure to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, The House on Prytania. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.